I learned in my corporate life that 3 things are important: be brief, be bright, and be gone. So my goal is to have everyone out of here at 3 p.m., just so you know this won't drag on indefinitely. And with that, I'd like to introduce Camille Stolgren, who's our secretary. Camille.
Hello, everyone. Proxies have been counted, and we have a quorum. I would like to call the approval of the 2009 annual meeting minutes. Are there any concerns? If not, may we have a motion for approval of the minutes? Second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Say no. Okay. Thank you. I'd like to turn it over to the officers' reports, and we'll start with Len Dito. Can you come up with the treasurer report?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to provide the treasurer's report for our past fiscal year. As you know, the Preservation Foundation was also not isolated from our economy, and as a result, we had income that was 20% less than last year. We were able to control our expenses, though, by decreasing them by 16.4%. So for the year, we ended in a loss position of $23,000, which interestingly enough was $6,000 better than the prior year. And that was caused by the fact that we didn't have to spend nearly as much money on the train station HSR, and we also were able to control some of our mission expenses. So that's where we are, and hopefully our next fiscal year will be a better one, thanks to members like you. And the next report, Suzanne Boren.
Thank you, Len. As of today, our total membership stands at 400, and I want to thank all of our current members and prospective members for your generous support, because it's through your membership that it funds the mission of this foundation. And I want to thank the membership committee this year: Camille Stolgren, Cynthia Leahy, Linda Shields, Pauline Moore, Dennis Johnson, for their service, as well as for Marcy. And this year we increased the benefits of our membership, and I think you're very familiar with the educational programs. Jan's going to report on that, the many tours of homes and gardens, our awards presentation. We have docent training coming up, and we provide historical resources for you in the matter of reference materials and staff. And then we have some nice perks for our very generous members, so we thank you very much. Next is
Thank you, Suzanne. Our theme this year has been exploring Lake Forest neighborhoods. Part of our exploring Lake Forest heritage is learning and understanding Lake Forest neighborhoods. We are fortunate to have generous homeowners who invite us into their homes so that we can appreciate why we're here. I thank the Programs Committee, Camille Stolgren, Liz Moore, Jane Partridge, Carol Champ, Paul Bergman, Susan Kelsey, and John Litchfield in creating interesting educational programs. We kicked off this year with our first annual family fair in Market Square, designed to attract younger families to preservation efforts. In addition to the popcorn and snow cones, we watched children play bingo by finding the architectural details in Market Square, hidden in front of all of our faces. We enjoyed exploring the tunnel that the city graciously opened, and worked with the city businesses and with the Lake Forest Women's Club as they instructed the children in the old-fashioned art of summer croquet. Exploring the homes on Overlook Drive was a perfect venue for fall, bringing together the modern architecture of Bob Rollison and the experienced hand at renovation efforts of Wells Wheeler to our membership. We all felt that the home with nature in this secluded, elegant house in the trees overlooking the ravine was wonderful. Our successful holiday party explored the Barbary Road neighborhood as part of as past summer houses, including a detailed renovation of Shaw's Carpenter House. In February, thanks to Art Miller and Paul Bergman, we explored Triangle Park and the homes spanning several generations back to the founding of our town. The Edwin Hill Clark House was had an interesting display of intricate brickwork and interior moldings. Finally, we end the year, or begin the year, with our annual meeting reception exploring another hidden neighborhood, this one in Howard Van Doren Shaw's backyard. Today you will visit the 1915 Cary Playhouse with a built-in theater. Shaw converted it to a residence 3 years later. I promise that you'll love it if you come to our reception. We have more neighborhood explorations in our agenda this year, as well as our second annual Family Fair in June, noted on this green sheet if you pick that up. And also we have a garden tour, house and garden tour on May 23rd, and at least one architectural technical program. So stay tuned for another exciting year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Thank everyone for your reports. I want to give a few comments on what we've been doing in the last year. First, I'd like to thank Marcy Kerr, our Executive Director, for basically the backbone of this organization. Marcy, thank you very much. And to all of you members, you're what keep this organization thriving. It's your financial support that keeps us in business, quite frankly. And then to all of our board members who work very hard throughout the year volunteering their time to keep us moving ahead. So I appreciate all of that. Thank you. Two items I want to touch on today. One is the train station. You know, last year we had a historical structure survey done by Gunny Harbo Architects, and that was presented to the city. And Gunny came in, gave a presentation in detail about the entire plan for the train station. Running in the background was the city requesting funding from the state of Illinois to do the rehabilitation of the train station. That funding has not been provided, so it's about money at this juncture. But Metro has agreed to provide funds to do the roof. They're interested in maintaining the structural integrity of the building, and they recognize that the roof has some leaks in it. It caused some further damage. So we have some limited funding from Metro to do the roof, and we're going to do not what we would like to do, which is do a slate roof on there, which is part of the entire program, but to go ahead and put a new roof on there as a temporary measure to at least protect the underlying structure until we have the opportunity to decide exactly the progress we're going to make and how we're going to get the funding to do that. So that's a short bit on the train station right now. The other bit is Forest Park. That's a currently raging topic, I understand. I was gone for a few months this winter, so I came back into the middle of that. But I would like to commend the Garden Club for the gift that they presented to the city. And the Lake Forest Preservation Foundation, published its position paper that was presented at the Parks and Recreation Board meeting last month, I believe it was, with four comments on the plan, the master conceptual plan that was presented by the Garden Club. And right now, that's an ongoing project. It was originally slated to be on this week's City Council meeting. It's been moved to next month, so it's watch these pages and see what happens. After that, I would like to move the program on to who is next? The nominating committee. That would be Suzanne Bourne. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. The following members of the nominating committee served this year: Jerry Henry, Arthur Miller, and myself from board member status, and then members at large, Christine Pook and Carol Champ. And I thank them very much for the hard work and contributing to this very generous slate that we are proposing today. The committee has prepared the following nominations, and these people have generously agreed to serve. And I will read the three classes all at one time. For the director of class of 2013, Thomas Daly, Len Dito, Joy Morawski, Bill Redfield, Christine Chung, Stephen Douglas, Linda Medema, and myself. For the class of 2012, Dr. Carl Silberman, and for the class of 2011, Norman Ablavanop. So these are the people who have agreed to serve and are presented on the slate. Is there a motion to accept the slate? Is there a second? All in favor of the slate as proposed? Aye. Any opposition? Okay, the motion is carried and the slate has been elected. Thank you very much. Now, would those people please stand so that everyone can see the... Thank you. And then for officers for the coming year, President Thomas Daly, would you stand again? Vice President of Membership, I'll continue that. Programs, Jan Gibson, Secretary Gail Hodges, and Treasurer Dennis Johnston. Is there a motion to accept the slate of officers? Okay, is there a second? All in favor? Any opposition? Okay, the motion is carried and the officers are elected. And thank you to everyone in the nominating committee and those who agree to serve. You're next.
Am I on? I am. I'm John Litchfield, and it's my pleasure to present the awards this year for preservation. It's the 20th year. I think that's a remarkable record for any organization to remain vital and to appreciate its community, and I think Lake Forest has done a splendid job, and I'd like to feel we helped to make that possible. I'm going to tell you right off, I'm not great at advancing slides, so if there are any ones you don't particularly like, just raise your hand. We are committed to serving the visual character. I think visual is extremely important. There are lovely homes here, and they have been fixed up in beautiful ways, but what we're looking for in the awards is as we pass by these homes, we notice something significant has been done. It catches our eye, and we say, hey, that's pretty good. And we now have an award for that sort, for those. In fact, those people do get something, don't they? I'm sure every one of you passed a sign or two coming here announcing the fact that this home or this property had received an award. In all, there have been 151 awards during the 20-year period, and we're going to be adding 10 this year. There were 16 nominations. Each of the locations was visited by an awards committee, 3 people on the commission and 3 people from outside. Wells Wheeler, Mary Jane Walther, who has served on the Historic Preservation Commission as chairperson, and also Franz Schultz. We were very gifted, frankly, to have people that I thought were extremely helpful to those on the from the outside. And the criteria we used, the Secretary of Interior has set forth some criteria for historic homes and then rehabilitation. And we use those measures along with our own vision of what's going on to arrive at our conclusions. You did say 3 o'clock, didn't you?
Darn tootin'.
Okay, without embellishing on these, there are 5 categories in which awards are going to be presented, so let's start with that. We also recognize as a foundation the splendid work of architects and those that have been associated with projects that we're awarding this year. And this year there will be 5 that we will be giving awards to. Okay, the first one is on Wisconsin Avenue. Now look closely at this. Now isn't that a splendid picture? I mean, just imagine going out in your backyard and seeing this wonderful young woman skipping across the water. This is the good work of Laura and Fred Fellows. And I should also mention the good work of Rocco Fiore. Tons of old stone, etc., were removed. The water pipes never were set correctly. They weren't below the freeze line. There had been legions of layers and layers of concrete that had been added. And in order to restore this sunken garden, this patio, great work was done. And I'd like to give an award to the fellows if they're here. Is there Laura or... I think they did a wonderful job. Okay, now we're moving on to Oakwood. All right. Now here we have picture Marcy, we have a problem. Did you do that? No, actually, this is my doing. What am I trying to do here? Well, I'm waiting. All right, what am I doing here? I'm going to put you all to work. You're going to have to make a decision. I'm giving you this piece of property. It's yours. Now what are you going to do with it? So I'm going to ask you to walk to the municipal building, to go up to the counter where the clerk is, and the clerk will say, "How may I help you?" And you're going to say, "I want a permit." Well, a permit for what? We have several permits. For instance, we have a permit where you can tear down something and put in anything you want. That's one permit. Another permit is a building permit, and then you can start restoring. Now, each of you, I want to think about which way would you vote? Which permit would you get? Now, in order to find out, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story, is someone from Landmark here, or the Ingalls here? Ah, please come forward. So you have a long time to think about this question. Actually, I think what I'm going to do as they walk forward, I'm going to show the decision that they made, and they can arrive to thunderous applause. Now look at that. Isn't that a good job? Right. Great job. Okay. Now we're moving on. We're going back to Wisconsin Avenue. Now, here we have the home of Laura Swift. Laura had this home, noticed on this home that it had been covered by aluminum siding, and it didn't look good. The weather had taken its toll on it, and she wanted to restore this and put it back to what it was when it was first built in the neighborhood. So she had the siding removed and revealed stucco underneath, which she had repaired. And then she put on some nice looking decorative finishes around the windows in the front, and has really made a splendid difference. This is where we've had a visual impact that's significant, and I'm proud to give an award to Laura Swift. Laura Swift. Will a surrogate come up for Laura Swift? Let's see. Yes. If you'll give that to her. All right, good. Okay, now this is an exciting project. This is the Meadow Studio at Ragdale. The original studio was built in the 20s, and it was built for Shaw's daughter, Howard Van Dorn and Shaw's daughter, Sylvia. And for 35 years, she did her sculpting in a studio that actually was located on the footprint of this particular structure. Now, what we have is a building that could not be repaired. Time had done its deed on this, and so it had to be taken down. So Ragdale joined with the Illinois Institute of Technology, and they had a team of students who designed and built this structure. And can you imagine sitting in the screen porch looking westward in the evening? That would give inspiration to anyone, wouldn't it? So I'd like to give an award and an Architect's Award to Ragdale Foundation. Susan, are you here?
Could I ask my student architects to come forward?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, we have an added benefit, folks.
Could I ask all of my architects to come forward, please? Frank, John, all of you, please. Natalie?
Now, wait a minute. Let's add this to it. Let's add this to it.
You guys hold that.
Hold it upright. That's a good thing architecturally.
Thank you. I just want to say this was an amazingly creative project. We thought it was very appropriate because our student architects are about the age that Howard They actually designed our building and they actually built it with a little help from their friend. So, I don't know if you are their first architectural award, but I know you will not be that one.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, students. We're now going to move down West Laurel Avenue, and we're going to look at a home that's infill. This is where it is found that a replacing structure would be more in keeping with the community, its surroundings, its neighbors, and this structure, this home at 246 Laurel certainly fits that picture, and I'd like you to take a look at it. The requirement for an infill is that it fits comfortably within the neighborhood that it's located. And this has two criteria. It has lovely homes, but across the street you also have open lands and so it's extremely important that there's a marriage between the two. And Becky Nagel, in writing to me about it, said the house is meant to be a simply elegant but emphasizing its interrelationship with nature, especially as we are situated within the preserved land and lovers of the outdoors. And I think they really hit the nail on the head with this. And I'd like to give an award to the Nagels and also to Diana Malakar, thank you, for this home. Diana? Here we are. Okay. Now this is the home of Suzanne Bourne. Suzanne bought this home about 10 years ago, and it's been a decade-long crusade in order to rehabilitate this home. And she completely took care of all of the details of it, including restoration of the stucco, and has made it into a wonderful home. And Suzanne, I'd like to present you with an award here. Now, Suzanne, don't sit down. What do you see here? What do you see here? Actually, what you see here is Suzanne's backyard 10 years ago. Now, this is an opportunity that I'm sure each one of you can experience. Walk out in your backyard, and what is the vision and the opportunity that you see? And I'd like to now show you the opportunity that Suzanne realized. Again, the thunderous applause. You're moving on to Oakdale, the home of the Wessons. This home was built in the late 30s by an architect, and during the intervening years, one of the owners had siding placed on the house. They had siding on the area that is dark, where the cedar is. Now just think of all that white aluminum siding. Isn't that ghastly? At any rate, the Wessons had the good sense and good taste to have it removed and did other things to the house that I think restore it to the visual character that we look for in the Preservation Foundation. So, are the Wessons here? Ah. There you are, sir. Good job.
Thank you. Right.
This is the home on Rosemary. It's a Stanley Anderson home, and it is a Preservation Award winner. The Oates and Heibergers contracted over a 3-year period to have this restored, and they had the assistance of their architect, whose name is Michael Molinari, in bringing this structure to fruition. You know, in looking at it, and I ask you, as you go out, drive by this home. I take usually good photographs, but my skill didn't really bring out the richness of the colors here. and the way it's laid out on the land. And I think it's a simply stunning building and home, and I think you do well to drive by and take a look at it. All right, are they here? Good job.
Thank you very much. And this is my phone.
You're the architect?
Yes, I am.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Right. Now we're going to do something different again. What we have here is a Jens Jensen planting map for the estate that was at 900 Illinois Avenue, or now Illinois Road. And the main structure is not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is the planting plan of Jens Jensen. And it's also going to involve the structures that were on this plat at the time it was drawn. First off, I'm going to talk about Maple Court. And Maple Court is a subdivision, and this is the house entered from here. This was the gardener's cabin, or gardener's cottage, for the estate. And when the estate was subdivided, that structure was moved up to here, which was the kitchen and the orchard for the estate over here. Is Sarah Wimmer here? Sarah has lived in this home for years, and before the present owners, and probably can tell us a great deal about it. Now, I'm going to talk about the rest of the story here, but I'm going to do so after we identify and talk about the home that at one time was Sarah's. This is the work done by Cappy and Dennis Johnstons. The portion of the home that was the gardener's cottage was from here over. The other had been added by other or earlier tenants. I think it was there before you were, Sarah. And so they moved in and completely revamped and redid this, including putting in a new foundation. The original home was on a slab. They shored up the foundation for the building. And so that's one half, and I would like to give an award to Cappy or Dennis if they're here. Right. Right. Now we're going back to Illinois Road. Now I want to get the name of the original architect on this home right. Okay. Yeah. The original architect was Charles Coolidge, and he is a very famous architect. Among his accomplishments are the Art Institute in Chicago and Stanford University. And I can assure you, in just visiting this home, it is truly magnificent. It is really a wonderful piece of architecture and architectural work. But again, we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the planning diagram. Now, this is a road entering in from Illinois, entering into the residence. There's a turnaround in front, and you'll notice there's a bridge here. At one point, there was a bridge that went across the ravine and connected what was the gardener's cottage, and also down here was the garage. And so back and forth, you could drive cars and serve the main residence, the main estate. Jensen, in laying out the planning, all of these yellow lines are paths that he created and had plantings around them. The Diomedes now own the ravine, And they have developed, with Rocco Fiore help, which I'll introduce them in a moment, but right up to Bluff's edge, they have restored the various paths, and they have reconstructed in great part the planning plan of Jens Jensen. This is a heroic accomplishment. Now there's a second plan, second phase to this reconstruction that is going to start once government approval is garnered, and that is they wish to restore the ravine. The blue, is, of course, is the stream, and then put in the paths that existed. Here is something that I think is the council circle that Jens Jensen was famous for including in all of his plans. But this part of work is second. The town, the city of Lake Forest, is ecstatic about having this work done to restore the ravine because it helps mitigate problems further downstream. The state of Illinois is a little bit slower to operate. There's one application that's been there for 9 months, and Roger, in talking to him, was told, look, with the budget situation the way it is, we'll be lucky if we ever get to it. So I hope that the state is able to move ahead. And what I would like to do briefly is just to show you. This is one of the paths. And you can imagine walking around through this entire estate and being confronted with simply elegant plantings and a nice path like this. I'd like to make a presentation to Matt. Here's Matt Diometti. Right. Thank you. And I know that the people at Rocco Fiore have been doing horrendous amounts of work. And the architect for this event is Kettle Camp and Kettle Camp. I don't know that there's a representative here for them. So Matt, I'm going to give it to you. And I'd like the people from Rocco Fiore to stand. Oh, Steve. And Steve, of course, did great work on the Fellows property as well. Well, this concludes my portion of it. I do want to acknowledge the people that worked with me on this on the awards ballot or whatever. And it would be Tom Daly, Wells Wheeler, the architect, Mary Jane Walther, Franz Schultz, Camille Stolgren, and myself. And thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Congratulations to all the award recipients. Well deserved. I was part of that, and I had the chance to view each one of these firsthand, and they're just beautiful. And right now there were 151. Now there's 161 of those little green and white signs scattered all over town. So if you happen to notice them, you'll realize why they're there and what the implication is. I want to particularly thank John for doing such a great job on this entire program and his presentation. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to thank someone who, for the last 6 years, has given a great amount of time and service to the Preservation Foundation, and that's Jane Partridge. Jane, would you please come up here? We would like to recognize all the service you've provided to the Preservation Foundation, and we have a small token for you, which you may need to have transported by someone. This was just a decoration.
Wow.
Pretty lightweight, actually.
Wow.
This is for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Congratulations, and thank you very much. Jane's been a terrific working force in this organization, and I'm proud to recognize her for that. Brief, bright, gone.